Welcome, friends of the Greasy Shop Rag. Today we're going to take a look at a Poulan PR5020 chainsaw. Customer complaint is that it won't run. That's the only clue we're getting from the customer. And repairing chainsaws, you got to look for clues to figure out some of these mystery problems. And if you can't get them from the customer, then you got to find them on your own, right? So we looked in the fuel tank and everything smelled fine and looked fine in there. Now we're going to look into the cylinder and make sure it's not scored. But when we take the spark plug out, we find one of these Chinesium spark plugs, no name brand. That's a clue. It's also looks like that spark plug hasn't, the saw didn't run on that spark plug. The insulator is perfectly clean, looks like a new plug. That's a clue. We're going to just check for spark here and see that the saw is producing spark. Kind of fumbling around a little bit. And I didn't mean to hide that from you. Just I needed to shadow it a little bit to see that there was spark. We're going to thread this plug back in and torque it down to spec and try and start this primer bulb appears to be working. Let's see what we got. No go. And the compression seemed okay. So let's pop this plug back out and look in the cylinder and see if it's wet or dry in there. And it does appear to be wet. So just for giggles, we're going to screw an NGK spark plug in here and see what happens. I'm starting to think that this Chinese spark plug might be part of a kit. Kind you find on Amazon or eBay, where you get a carburetor, a spark plug, fuel filter, fuel lines, primer bulb, air filter for $3.49. So it started, and it smoked heavy. It was flooded bad, but it ran on our NGK spark plug. Let's try it again. So something just isn't right. And it's I look a little frustrated in this video. But we're going to pull the hood off of this thing and see what's underneath it. Maybe we can spot some more clues. And that's kind of the lesson of this video is, they didn't just go out and buy that one Chinese spark plug. That came as a kit. Here's another clue. Something's jacked up with this throttle linkage. And I edited it out, but there was some colorful language here. And I couldn't figure out how that linkage got the way it was. Well, it it got that way because someone pulled the carburetor off and reinstalled it that way. So that's another clue. Here's a third clue. When I push on the primer bulb, instead of returning to tank, the fuel is, it's going backwards. They got the primer bulb and the lines all jacked up. So we're going to take a closer look at that and get these lines squared away. You want to make sure that you crack the fuel cap before you pop the lines off the primer, or something weird's going to happen, like that. Pipes! Let's just dump that fuel right out of there. Alright, time to start squaring away these fuel lines. Off comes the line on the carburetor, which I think was, you know, I don't even know how he had these on here. He had it so jacked up. But because of the length of them and where they're going, I think he replaced some of them. And this primer bulb that he's got on here, it looks like it's brand new. And it's one of China's finest. The reason I say that is because after I get these lines put on here, go through all this monkey business, it's going to turn out that I gotta replace the primer bulb. It's leaking, or it's cracked, or the tab is broken, or something. I don't remember. But we're gonna put a new bulb on it. You know, sometimes the customer, they don't like to admit that they failed when they tried to fix it themselves. Kind of like, you know, we've sold chainsaws. I remember one time a guy came back and slapped the saw on the bench and said he wanted his money back because this piece of junk we sold him doesn't cut. And I asked him if he's been keeping the chain sharp, you know, and he said he's got a, you know, he's had the chain off and he's got this custom grinder he uses. He assured me his chains are sharp, and I pointed out that he put the chain on backwards on that piece of crap chainsaw that we sold him, and maybe if he turned it around so the cutting edges were facing forward, that the piece of crap chainsaw would cut a little bit better. And he wasn't really happy with me, but got the point. You know, he walked in there in a huff and a puff, pissed off, wanting his money back, and it turns out, you know, it was all on him. Well, this guy with this saw, he tried putting a new carburetor on here, new fuel lines, and he didn't come in a huff and a puff. He just kind of snuck it in under the radar and kept quiet. You know, when he gets the bill, it's going to be a half an hour of labor. Primer bulb, spark plug. What is he out? He's out his time and the $3.49 he spent on that Chinesium kit. So let's give this another try with the fuel lines in the correct order. getting closer. I don't know if this generic carburetor is just that far out of adjustment, or if it's out of adjustment because it was set that way by the customer. But we're gonna dial it in a little bit here and get it close enough so we can take it outside and drop it in the log and fine tune it. So that's all I got for you on the Sherlock Holmes of the PR5020 chainsaw. Thanks for watching. Later.